Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is KateSemeniuk and I'm sharing here lots of different roots and causes for mental or physical struggles. And something that the doctors don't tell you usually because they don't have time, but I do. And I really want you to know that there is a big connection between mind and body, and there is a reason for everything, and that reason usually lies in the way we grow up. Fear of punishment today is a fear that not everyone admits they have it, because they believe that, oh, that happened long ago. Yes, I was punished as a kid, but I don't think that I have it now. However, we do. And it plays out in different situations in our life, even though as adults, we understand that we don't have that fear. There is no point in having a fear of punishment. Who invented punishment? Punishment was invented by people in order to keep everything in order, in order to keep the whole communities in order. And the best way to do that is to raise generations after generations that will punish their kids for not being compliant, or for being naughty, or for being bad, for not listening to what parents want. And in some cases, fear of punishment can be very legit. Like, for example, preventing crimes, or putting people in jail for different crimes. That's very understandable, people, so that governments can protect people from any crimes and criminals. However, when a child is being punished for a broken vase, or a child is punished for 80% on a test and not 100%, that leads to a huge emotional and sometimes even physical struggle when we grow up. And in most cases, people say, oh, I don't have that fear. Let's identify the symptoms of the fear, because animals usually don't punish their offsprings, ever. But we do. We do punish and sometimes this punishment can be physical, and sometimes this punishment can be emotional, and emotional is as damaging as physical, right? So sometimes we deprive our kids of attention. We restrict them, limit them, tell them no, ignore them, manipulate them in order for them to listen. And that's what our parents did to us, and their parents did to our parents. This is generation after generation, because when you were born a free spirit. Free spirit cannot be manipulated. Free spirit cannot be controlled. Free spirit can do what they want, and this is not profitable for the system, for governments, for countries, for businesses. So you need to be punished for any show of extraordinarily, or authenticity, or being curious, or being adventurous. Not everyone. I'm not saying that everyone has been punished in childhood. No. But if you're watching this video, then definitely you are interested, and maybe this fear plays out in your role and impact your life. So let's talk about symptoms. The biggest symptom of the fear of punishment is the over-apologizing. Right? No matter if it's our fault or not, we just over-apologize because that's what we did back in childhood. We carry on these patterns, not even realizing that. So if you have been punished a lot by your parents, by your caregivers, by teachers. I have been punished by teachers. I know that in Western world, maybe it's not common, right? But where I grew up, punishment was very common. So when we are punished, we carry on that pattern, and we apologize because we want to avoid the conflict. We want to avoid, being punished for something, right? And that punishment can be any type of punishment. So it could be even a feedback, and people sometimes consider it a punishment. So another big symptom is self-sabotaging and procrastinating. People sometimes think, well, I procrastinate, but I don't know where it's coming from. There are a lot of reasons for procrastination, and one of them can be a fear of punishment. Maybe for taking an action, for being adventurous, being risky, being proactive, you were punished in a childhood. And now, subconsciously and unconsciously, you will fear the same exact consequences for being proactive, for taking action, for risking, right? For making a decision. A lot of time that happens. So think about it. Think about your time when you were punished. Social anxiety. In some cases, when we have fear of punishment, we can socially isolate ourselves because we feel like, oh, we can be criticized, we can be judged, and by that, it means punished as well, right? Sometimes, because the first parents usually criticize and then they punish. So another one is not taking chances, not taking actions, is one big symptom of this fear of punishment. If you have that, then maybe you have this fear of punishment. Another symptom, very common, right, is lying, hiding the truth. Happens to maybe kids. And when we grow up, sometimes we use that strategy as well in order to evade the consequences, the responsibility. Fear of punishment, by the way, very closely related to fear of responsibility. So sometimes we lie, we hide the truth, we evade the truth. We sometimes don't say everything just in order, or make excuses, make huge excuses, right? So we don't want to take responsibility and we don't want to take this punishment, though that punishment may be imaginary. You won't be punished and you know that logically. But between logic, right, and emotion will win, right? So if you have emotions, if you have these fears, it's usually in the subconscious mind. So it will overrule the logic. So blaming someone. Another symptom is blaming someone. We want to take off the responsibilities because the responsibility means punishment if something doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. So responsibility leads to punishment. If you made that connection in childhood, then it's a big chance you have this fear of punishment. What are the root causes? Usually it's a punishment in childhood, and the best way to recognize this, to identify it, and because this is very interesting. Usually when I ask my clients, have you been criticized? Have you been punished in childhood? And the clients will say, you here and there, sometimes spanked, sometimes, my parents would not talk to me for 5 days, and that's fine, No, that's not fine. That happened, right? You cannot do anything about it, but you can definitely look and investigate that memory. What happened? What belief did you form? Because this is why you are in my chair for hypnotherapy, because you need that liberation, that freedom. You need to free yourself from limiting beliefs and, your struggle with something. So when I say if I'm asking this, right, it means that if you were punished, it can affect your life in the future. And usually people say, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I forgave them. And it's great. It's great. Forgiveness is the path to freedom, to spiritual freedom, to emotional freedom. But we also need to look at how your life evolves. How are you? Are you proactive? Are you motivated? Do you love what you do? All of these questions. How are you overthinking? Are you anxious? Are you taking too much responsibility on yourself? Are you running to reach a goal? Or are you in the present? Right? All of these questions, right? I ask before we go into the session. And in the session, there are so many interesting cases that come up and scenes, and people are they are surprised that affected them so much and brought them to behave the way they behave right now. And it's definitely possible. You cannot change the past, right? But you can change your present and how you see your childhood, see your recent conflicts or past conflicts. So criticizing parents, if the parents were criticizing, right, we start to punish ourselves. We feel like, okay, there is something wrong, I'm bad. And we start to punish ourselves as well. We fear of punishment and we punish ourselves because we feel like, okay, I'm bad. We believe that we are bad. There is something wrong with us. Restrictions. So if you were punished in the form of restrictions, right? I'm taking your laptop for a week, or I'm taking, you won't go outside. Oh yeah, the worst, the worst punishment, you will not go outside, or, physical punishment, spanking, belts, harmful words, hurtful words, or limitations, even like food limitations. I know that people punish their kids. It's horrible. It's terrible what people do. But people do it because they are acting based on what they know. And this is the only way they know. They don't understand the other way. So that's how they raise their kids. And sometimes that's how our parents raised us, because that's what their parents did to them. And we might be able to explain to them and to seek understanding, but at the same time, we need to work on ourselves first. So that fear of punishment, if you want to overcome it, or if you feel like something is holding you back, like changing the job, or applying for the promotion, taking the responsibility for something, taking on the project that you have always wanted to do, opening a business, right? All of these things are great, to analyze and to think maybe you have a fear of punishment that is holding you back, and it's absolutely possible to overcome it. If you want to understand, if you have this fear, or if you want to be free of this fear, I do it through the RTT hypnosis. It's an amazing method, where we do everything in one session, where we change how you think, we change how you react, we change how you perceive and see your future and present and past. And that happens in a very natural, organic way. And you do it as well. It's you who can heal. I wish you all the best. I hope the fear of punishment is not something that you encountered, because I did. But I wish you analyze, you find out the root, the cause. When were you punished? Just write it down. Just make a note. When were you punished? When was the first time you remember you were punished for something? If you were punished for school, it's the same way. Lead it. How are you behaving at work? If you were punished for creativity, if they're making a mess, for example, in a room for being creative, how are you reacting towards new actions, proactivity? How are you in your in your creative world, right? If you were punished for, not giving enough attention to your parents, or doing something wrong, then look at your relationship. How does it show up in your relationship? What kind of relationship you attract in your life? So it's all connected. If you want the help in connecting it, I can do that with you. I cannot do it for you, but I can do it with you. I wish you all the best. Be healthy emotionally and physical. I love you all, and I hope you like this content. Please subscribe, because I want to share this knowledge with the world. And the more of you see that, the more of you will be educated, will be more aware. Love you.